What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Alex's Toy Show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Alex's Toy Show. Brand new toy show. This is my pal Alex, the hot stove. Now, for everybody who doesn't know what the hot stove is, it's got nothing to do with the hot chick cooking stuff on a stove. I was looking for thumbnails to, pictures on the internet to use as a thumbnail, and I'm like, oh, that just calls out to me. The poor girl. Anyway, the hot stove is the term used for all the off-season, baseball transactions, whether it be free agent signings, some trades, something else, and, I'm just gonna report on it in the off-season, because, I ran out of baseball cards. We had a good little contest, but not really a contest there. And I said, hey, what should I do instead of looking at the rest of my Andy Van Slyke cards? Not to say, I love it, but, you guys are going to get bored after a while. So, couple of things in the news last week. Now, John Oliver on HBO, he has a news show every Sunday, and it's like the news last week with John Oliver. So it's kind of like, and he's really funny too. I love it. I love his show. So it's kind of like everything that happened. Like, I'm not going to do it daily. It's going to be once a week, and I'm just going to kind of recap everything. So, so the first thing I'm going to cover is a couple of things in the news before we get to the World Series action, which starts tonight. So Don Mattingly, he's been the skipper for the Dodgers, and so Don Mattingly and the Dodgers, they mutually parted ways. I caught a little bit of this on SportsCenter the other day. He kind of doesn't want to be micromanaged by. The way the guy said it on SportsCenter was the owners of the Dodgers are some people in India. I don't know how true that is, but more or less like, the team calls them to make a decision, and based on, whatever they just say, they call back and they are like, yeah, replace it with this guy because of this. And Mattingly just wants to go with gut feeling, the way baseball is supposed to be. So he still wants to manage, just not for the Dodgers. More or less, I don't know how true that India story is. I didn't look into it. In other news, Ruben Amaro Jr., he was the former GM for the Phillies. Looks like he signed with the Red Sox to be the first base coach. Then on to World Series news. Now, Toronto has a bunch of free agents once the year is officially up. Catchers Deano Navarro and George Cotaris. Clitoris? I don't know how to say that guy's name. Shortstop Cliff Pennington, and then pitchers Mark Burley, David Price. David Price is big news. Everybody wants to see where he's going. There's a lot of big free agents. I'll get to that in another episode of Hot Stove. Cubs have a couple of players going to outfielders Chris Denorfia, Dexter Fowler, Austin Jackson. Two outfielders I'd like to see come to the Yankees in some way, shape, or form. Austin Jackson started with the Yankees. And then their pitchers, Trevor Cahill, Felipe Polino, Jason Mott, Tommy Hunter, James Russell, and Clayton Richard. Some other interesting news is the Kansas City Royals have this player in the minor leagues, hasn't made it past AA, Raul Mondesi Jr., yet they want to bring him up to the roster to play in the World Series. And I'm like, why? I don't know, for publicity? So apparently if a spot clears on their 40-man roster, he would be the first player to debut in Major League Baseball in the World Series. He didn't play regular season. He didn't play in the division series. He didn't play in the playoffs. Playoffs? He would debut in the World Series. He would be the first guy. Now the Mets have a bit of a comeback. Their infielder, Matt Reynolds, who was the replacement player for Ruben Tejada when, Jackass took him out at second base and he broke his leg. Ruben Tejada's out. Matt Reynolds is in as the replacement player, but he never played. Like, he never got to bat during the division series or the playoffs. Playoffs? So he could also make his debut in the Major League, in the World Series. If the Mets put him on the 40-man roster. But in the article I read, Juan Uribe looks like a better choice. So we'll see. We could have a little something special in the playoffs, in the World Series this year. And again, World Series starts tonight on Fox, 8 o'clock-ish. They're in Kansas City. The Mets are putting up their Matt Harvey against Kansas City Edinson Volquez. I am picking the Mets to win in 5 games. Maybe 6. But definitely, I'm feeling 5 games. I think the Royals are a good team. They won the World Series last year. I think the Mets are just on fire. And despite Cespedes had the cortisone shot in his shoulder, or was it this shoulder? One of his shoulders. That was last week, and they say he's going to be fine for the World Series. So I'm thinking it's fine. And then in fan news, Jerry Seinfeld has this pair of Nike Shox. They're in Mets colors, and they're wondering if it's the secret to the Mets' success. Everybody in baseball knows that Seinfeld is a huge Mets fan. If you watch the show, the Jerry Seinfeld show back in the day, constant Superman references, there's constant Mets references. George goes and works for the Yankees, but, you know, they're Mets fans, deep down. And then Foley's Pub on 33rd in New York are renaming themselves Daniel Murphy's during the World Series in honor of Daniel Murphy's hottest streak ever in his life. The dude's on fire. I just don't think you can put the Mets down. Mets in 5. And that's all I got to say about that. Do I have anything else? Let me see. I took notes for my hot stove. And what I have here is a list of free agents. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages, front and back, of free agents, their salaries, and their teams, and how old they are, and where they're going. So we'll try to keep up with these as the weeks go on in the off-season. But as for tonight, get on the World Series. There ain't nothing on. It's Tuesday. I mean, there's Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and The Flash. But, I mean, you could DVR that and watch the World Series. That's what I'm going to do. Yeah. World Series, baby. Like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe for more.